Well, it's kind of a warm day, so maybe I'd take it easy and let the machines do the work. Come out the other night, and I got some of the stones on the sidewall here. I'll cement them in later, so before I go, so they can set up, and I'll get them some fortified piers is what I'm after. I got the corners like this, but I want to have more support under the first row of logs before I leave. My whole plan was to kind of get set up and get some of this stuff out of the way so that when the crew shows up, we can really go to town. One thing I realized, I had to get my supervisor's chair out, so I was just kind of practicing today here. I'm not sure if we're going to have any expertise or not. I mean, as far as building cabins, I don't know what the level is. I've never done it, so it's all the first time around. But I got a book in there I read, and I've watched, as I said before, a lot of that higher learning on the YouTube channel. Checked a lot of that stuff out. You know, there's all these guys on there. I kind of put some hints out there, you know, but Kyle, I think he's finishing up his own cabin over there. He probably wants to get it done by winter. Sean, well, I don't know if he could put up with, we're not going to be very precision here. We're going to be using power tools and chainsaws and things like that, electric winches, and might not be his style. And I'm afraid if you brought Callie the dog, she'd be chasing all my spruce grouse off all the time. It'd be nice to have the Morgans here too, but they already made one road trip this year, and I just don't think, well, I've never seen them work with hand tools or something like that. It's always that big equipment, and we just can't get it in here. Well, it'd be nice to have them around, but you know, probably not going to work out. So I think some of the other, I don't know, there's a bunch of bushmans and bushcrafters and everything else out there. And, yeah, I wouldn't mind if some of them wanted to pop over and get a little work in. We'll have a good time. But I do know I have a couple more. A couple of the kids, yeah, years ago that used to come up here. Scott and Tim, they said they're coming. That's going to be a hoot. I mean, man, live, I had them back here in like 35 years ago, you know, and so they're going to be interested in coming back. I got a fan club called Southern Command, and Tom was in California, and one of his members, Bud, who kind of is I think he's the self-professed leader of everything in the Southern Command fan club. Anyway, they finally got fed up with California, and so I think what they did is they found that old truck that the Clampetts used when they went to L.A. or wherever they went to after they found that oil. Anyway, the Clampetts didn't need that truck anymore, and I think that Bud and Tom picked it up and loaded all the stuff up, and they made a trip, and they've moved to South Carolina. So anyway, Tom has really plans of he wants to get up here the worst way. But Bud, he's taken on the job now of being Tom's personal trainer. I don't think he wants anybody but a pure Adonis showing up as part of the Southern Command fan club. I mean, so he's got Tom on a regimen. I mean, I guess he wants him to lose 25 pounds. He's got him doing exercises. And, well, I don't think that's necessary, Bud. Let him be, because we have tools for stuff like that. So anyway, we have all these tools and, you know, man-made leverage and different tricks you can use. I want to show you something here that I just happened to think about this. Years ago, I was working for a farmer, and anyway, in the project, I didn't do it, but somebody let a bulldozer slip into the pond. So it stuck down in the pond, and we had to get it pulled out. Well, they didn't have that big of equipment there to do it with, but the guy who knew what he was doing, they took a cable and they stretched it from a tractor, a small little tractor, and they stretched it to that bulldozer, and then they had that hooked up to a Caterpillar. Well, then they took a small tractor, a real small tractor, and they hooked it up sideways halfway down this cable. And the instructions of the guy that knew what he was doing, he told that farmer, it was a John Deere 50, I think is what it was. I mean, we're not talking a real big tractor here. He says, I want you just to be, as I pull with my big machine and pull that bulldozer out, I want you to put pressure and pull this way on this. Now, I want to show you. You can hear this thing. That winch is grunting pretty good. But look, this is the mechanical advantage. And this, I guess, this is why suspension bridges work. If I just pull like this, look what I can do. It's just a thing. Anyway, we use every trick in the book like that when we can. The reason I'm doing that is I don't want to pull it through my cornerstone, and I want to end up with it up here. And then when we get our log in, I'll have these big rocks close to position. And who knows? Maybe even Drone Man David will be here by then, and he can help me set them up. Otherwise, I'll find some sort of a mechanical advantage, and we'll get the job done. So do you see now, bud? I don't need Tom to be a Johnny Weissmuller. I need Tom to be a guy that can design me a sky hook so we can lift these logs up and put them in a position. Now, that's something to get on him about. And again, it's a matter of working smarter, not harder. maybe a word of caution about pulling sideways on these cables. The guy explained to me, and it makes total sense. Say this cable, I think, is rated for 2,000 pounds. And if I get 2,000 pounds and I've got that torqued out at pulling at 2,000 pounds, he told me that when you have that cable maxed out, you can walk up with one finger, and that multiplies the pull on that cable so much that it'll pop. Stretch to the max load where it's gonna give, and then any more pressure multiplies that force. You've got like a wham. So I don't plan on overloading this cable that much, but that's how much power is exerted by that advantage. Good thing to know. Well, if Bud can't come up with a sky hook, my plan B is going to be like the way this chain goes between these two trees. I'm going to get the ladder and put it up about 12 or 15 feet. And I've got enough chains. I've got over 50 feet of these good logging chain. I'm going to stretch it across to a tree I've already picked out over there. And that's going to allow me the chain's going to come right through the center of the cabin wall over there. And we can pull our logs into position on the ground, put the electric hoist on it, and then raise it up, and then we can mess with it from there. So another way that we're going to work smarter, keep our backs for another day. After all that back-breaking labor, I think I'm going to take a little break here. Got a half a cup of coffee, and on the shelf, I'm thinking about Bud and Tom. There's a See's candy sucker found in there. One of the good things about California, See's candy. Besides, I need to perfect my supervisor chair. Things work out right. Maybe I can just direct from here. Bring me one of them lasers so I can point where I'm talking about when I'm spouting out my orders. That day I cut these trees down. I think I came over that afternoon with the small saw and got a lot of them limbed off. Played around a little bit with a screwdriver, peeled a little bit of bark off to make sure it was going to come off. But I'm glad I was over here and cut those trees down that day, because if you can hear this wind howling, that wind's going that way, and there's no way I could have got these trees to go that way. So that plan worked out well. Now I've used the shovel before to get the bark off. I'm wondering if maybe I might be able to utilize this crowbar in certain ways too. So see how things go here. Really no magic bullet, but just get working on it. A few more sessions like that. Have this done. If I have time, I might take down a few other small ones over closer to the cabin, but time's going to run out pretty fast now.